we're evaluating the Eagles' current D tackle situation. We're counting on elevations to make elevation. But if we don't get penetration, this won't be a conversation. Bars! What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back with another news/analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. And today, man, we're getting into going back to our series, Stay or Go. The Eagles that are gonna leave via free agency, and the Eagles that are gonna stay, re-sign, or they're just here on the roster. So let's look at the defensive tackle position. So we're gonna start with one of our stalwarts, a 6-time Pro Bowler, Fletcher Cox. He came back this season on a 1-year, $14 million deal. A little bit too rich for my taste, being that, his production slipped last year, but, one of the all-time greats for us, especially at that position. One of the main reasons that we were able to win the Super Bowl in 2017. And this season, he actually had better stats than last year, but I believe he was a better player. It was a stronger player last year, even though his play did slip. I think that was more due to the scheme. And he didn't complain last year, but, he gutted it out and, put his nose to the grindstone and just focused in, bought in, and, played better down the road. But he had 43 tackles for 7 sacks this year. And, a lot of those were byproduct of the success that the overall line was having. It was feast and or famine, and most weeks we feasted out there. And he was able to eat because of those guys, he lined up next to just, a historic line. Too bad that it went to waste with us not coming away with the championship ring, but, we will go in the annals as one of the best, but, more alongside the Vikings, who had those, that dominating line, the purple people eaters, but didn't come away with any jewelry to show for it. So, I chalk that up as an L. I don't want to hear anything else than, oh, we got a ring? Compare this line to the 2017 line. Pales in comparison, but they got that important accessory that makes it all worth it. So, I don't see him giving like you're saying here, I don't see him giving a hometown discount. He still has, some good earning years and not maybe necessarily playing years. I'd say maybe a year, 2, he can be effective in a role. He came, limited his snaps. He was playing way too much. He played like 70% of the snaps at one point. And, he was just out there on the field because, just too many for him at this point in his career. But he can still be effective, definitely, for a franchise in the right package, right usage, right role. So I think he's too rich for our blood. He's going to be out of here. So stay or go. Fletcher Cox is going to, unfortunately, be out of here. Let's get to the next guy. Javon Hargrave, man. He had 11 sacks. That's the big number we see. But, man, he's just a penetrating guy, that belies his size. And he has a thick lower body, pause. And he just is able to shoot gaps and just get upfield and get to the passer quickly, man. And, playing next to Fletcher and next to our ends, man, he just, was a penetrating guy and able to handle his tasks. He played the run nicely as well. I don't think not as good as he did last year, but those guys were just out there eating. So, but yeah, he was definitely a star for us, and 60 tackles as well. To go along with those 11 sacks, and yeah, he can be paid top money. We had him last time on a 3-year, $39 million contract, and that was just pretty much on the cheap, even though it was quite a bit of money. But that being said, the going rate for these guys are at least 17 mil for the top guys, and maybe even pushing close to 20. I mean, yeah, definitely pushing close to 20 because you see, Aaron Donald here, Leonard Williams, DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, they're all making bank. Aaron Donald, $31 million, Leonard Williams, $21 million, DeForest Buckner, $21 million, Chris Jones, $20. That's way too rich for our blood, especially us being cap strapped. And he's the number 2 priority behind C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and that's a whole other story. He's already chunked the deuces. We'll get to that a little bit later, but yeah, it is what it is. We're just up against the cap, and don't have that much money. I think we have like $8 million in cap, and we can make some room with restructures, but I think also got to sign those guys either to new money, or like you guys on the last year. Yeah, last year we're gonna have to extend years. Otherwise, even if it's dummy years, it's not going to open up any space. To make cap sense. We're just cap in at this point. But yeah, I'd say they say stay. I believe he's gonna go because I just think we're not gonna be able to hold up to a deal that someone is gonna offer, and it's gonna be too much, and he's gonna be could be like it might be for a contender as well. I think that plays a part with him having gone to the Super Bowl this past season, but I don't see him being loyal to us for what reason? Other than wanting to play with these guys, wanting to have another good shot at a ring. But I don't think our defense is going to look the same, so he's going to wait all that. I just think I lean towards him going. And if we can get the money right, yeah, of course he would stay. But, like I said, we're not in the best position to offer these guys the high-end deals or, like, even top 10 money, maybe. Maybe. That's a good maybe because, like I said, we want to keep the safety as well that, we brought in this offseason. Let's get to our next guy, Milton Williams. He has no choice but to stay. So the key with him, he had in PFF 89, I think maybe .5 rating, and he's severely elevated from year two, from year one to year two. He got better. Still a lot of room for improvement. He flashes like once or twice a game, like I saw in the games. But other than that, he's got to be more consistent with that playmaking, not just hit a big highlight and then kind of fade into obscurity or like go back to being just solid or you want to we call his name. We want to him to be standing out in the game. So 4 sacks, 36 tackles, 9 for loss on just 395 snaps. So he made his snaps count, but how will he be? That is the big question. As a full-time player, full-time starter, I don't know if we're gonna look at him in that role. He's 290, so he's got enough size. He's quick. Was a great guy coming out of Louisiana Tech. A great steal in the 4th round. But can he elevate his play even further and on a consistent basis? That is the big question. And we don't know. We seriously don't know. Even if he does, we need to still bring in a third guy, to rotate in behind Jordan Davis and him. And most likely, not most likely, if the guy is not a starter, behind Milton Williams to come in and be effective off the bench because, you need a good rotation. You need to be at least 4 deep at tackle, but ideally 5 with a guy. And then I think we have a guy already with Marlon Tuda, which I can't say his last name, but he'd be our good, 5th guy member. But we need another key cog in there, and guy that has starter ability or is going to provide starter quality depth coming off the bench. So we'll see. Milton Williams, he really holds the keys here. I think if he plays lights out, I think he'll be the starter going into next year. And that brings us to our next guy, the big 1st-round pick for us last year, Jordan Davis. Man, the huge guy who had a huge impact on our defense. Not statistically, stats-wise, he sacrificed himself, and that's going to be his role, here and out, forevermore in Philadelphia. We didn't draft him to be a pass rusher, even though he ran a 4.78 at 330 plus pounds, which is, I don't know if it was a record, but definitely was up there. Big guy was moving faster than a lot of D tackles that are lighter than him. So he only had 14 tackles, 1 batted pass, no sacks, but he was averaging 22 snaps per game. That huge no tackle, and it wasn't just for his ability to hold, stop the run and hold up, but to be able to create lanes for those guys behind him. That's a huge reason that we were able to be successful because he was gap controlling, gap discipline, and allowing those guys to free flow to the ball and free flow to the ball carrier, and as well as the quarterback, and get those sacks. So without him, I don't think we would have been as successful as we were last year. And credit to him. And can he make the next step? Because the biggest step that a lot of players make is in between years 1 and years 2, where they make that substantial jump, where they have that year vested in the league. They know how to study. They know how to to train. Know how to eat. Know how to get rid of subdued distractions. So many things that you learn in that first year, what works and what doesn't. The transition from college to the big leagues, and that everybody's good. And you can't just coast on talent alone. And even if you do, you got to get better at talent, develop more moves, develop mentality, that dog in you, and study habits. So there's so many things that go into being a successful pro in any field, but especially in pro football. You know, being studious, taking care of yourself, and being hungry. I mean, drive. That's a third one. They can't put it in you. You got to have that, instilled in you from jump. You know, and I believe he has that. He's a smart guy as well. He wants to get better. Um, yeah, he's still a young guy. I think he might be 22, and so going in his second year, or 23. I want to say 22. So yeah, I mean, he just maturity wise, he wasn't an immature guy coming out the draft, but lots of things to learn and lots of tools to polish, pause, to get better. So he can still get better at his craft. So there's a load of potential with Jordan Davis there. He has a limitless amount of potential to get better. And then D tackles, they evolve at a different rate. One of the best, if not, people maybe say he elevated himself to the best this past year. Chris Jones, took by his third year he was, bam, smashing dudes in the regular. Pause. But first year, he was kind of here and there. Make some plays, here and there. But second year he started to build consistency, and that's what just happens with those guys. But obviously, like I said, he's a stay because he's a first round pick, and we cut him after 1 year. All right, here's where we get to kind of the replacements. They aren't Jags, but they just they're up in age or some other issues, whatever. Linval Joseph, huge guy, but he was a mercenary free agent. We called in when Jordan Davis got hurt. Just age, price, and even if he did come back, and you want that space, for bring in guys that are younger that you're gonna have time to mold and develop and see them grow, and we know what he is at this point, and it's diminishing returns as far as if he's not coming in a pinch. It's just you know that he's not getting any better, and he's only going to continue to age, and he has a time clock. He's 34. Same thing with Ndamukong Suh, great guy to have. 36, I didn't know that, but it still gave us quality snaps in a rotation. But yeah, he's a mercenary at this point, trying to hunting for another ring. Sadly, we couldn't get him and Linval his first. Suh, I think maybe his third would have been, but sad to say we couldn't get it done. But yeah, man, it is what it is, and in a pinch, maybe we'll call upon one of those guys or both of them, next year again if we were put in that position, but hopefully not. But thanks, guys, for your contributions to the squad. You'll forever be remembered. Marlon Tuipulotu. Okay, I think I got that right. Like I said, he's a solid player. We had him playing at nose, and he has versatility, and he can play any of the positions in any of the schemes that we have. But if you can upgrade it, you'd like to upgrade that position, but who knows? He still has maybe he hasn't reached his ceiling yet. He can get better, and but he's a valuable rotational player. He's definitely his first year. He showed up, and then this year, he may have to take a back seat because we had those guys there who had a great amount of experience, and he wasn't more so needed, and then needed as much, and then he got hurt. So development is stunning anytime a player's not getting reps, and you get better by being out there on the field. And that is the D-tackle position. So we can definitely upgrade it. Like I said, we need that one guy that is, starting caliber player. And just challenge those starters and the guys behind them in providing depth to get better. All right, let's get to some news here around the league. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he says goodbye to Philly and the fans. And it's sad. I think he's resigned, I think he knows our cap situation is that we just don't have enough money to sign him to the contract that he wants, and he's not gonna play for cheap, and that's fair. Players, they gotta balance winning versus getting paid, and hopefully you can marry the two. But sometimes it's just in the case, and without a doubt in his mind, I think he would love to return to his squad. He loves Philly. He loves that he was able to be himself and play um, play all out and show his personality. But the paper's got to be right. The money's got to be right. He's not gonna discount his talent or go for a discount. And who can blame him? So if he's out of here, man, thank you for the contribution for this past year, and wish you the best unless you play us. But great guy, great locker room guy, great character guy, and just has that heart of a beast. He goes out there and gives it his all. So that's all you can ask for. All right, the Jets are set to meet with Aaron Rodgers with the Packers' permission. So the Packers are maybe looking to just move on from Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what it's not the drama, the talent. It just comes with that, but maybe ready to see what they have. And when they invested in Jordan Love, I think maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago, and he didn't look too bad. He lit us up, but I mean that's under Jonathan Gannon's circumstances. So may take that with a grain of salt, but he looks to have some talent in this league, and it's about time to find out what you have. Like what they would did with Aaron Rodgers and the legendary Brett Favre. So Jets, that'll be a nice move for them. I think that would tremendously elevate their squad to another level. Definitely with the incumbent Zach Wilson, and then Mike White being a free agent. You don't know if he's going to come back, and he's not like a starter that you're looking at. He's just quality depth, behind the starting quarterback. But what do you want to do there? He's going to come at a price, and it might stifle you in free agency. But I think they're a really good cap, position with the salary cap, the money that they have, so they can afford to spend and afford to bring in a guy like Rodgers and float that contract. So I think they're in a good position. All right, next, ex-coach Denard Wilson, our ex-DB coach, signs with the Ravens after being let go by the Eagles. He landed on his feet. Very talented coach, solid coach, and players loved him here. So they were sad to see him leave, of course, and that could be playing a factor in C.J. Gardner-Johnson signing elsewhere, and Darius Slade being being discontent as of the moment, but knew he would land on his feet, and he's a talented guy. So this is his new road to D coordinator spot, and maybe a head coaching spot if he has the opportunity. He's presented with the opportunity, so we'll see. But he's out of here. But wish him the best, and thankful for what his contributions. Said that like third time in this video, but anyways, cornerback Byron Jones, formerly of the University of Connecticut, had that broad jump record with a torn labrum in his shoulder or something like that. Formerly of the Cowboys, cut by the Dolphins after 3 seasons, just couldn't stay healthy, man. He had Achilles, and had all the talent in the world. You can jump through the gym, and to be good pairing with Xavier Howard down there in Miami, but just couldn't stay on the field. So the best ability is availability, and if you don't have that, they're not going to keep you. I think they saved like 16 to 18 million by cutting him or something like that. Ridiculous. And he's saying on his Twitter that he can't even jump right now, run, and he's just so hurt, but he has no plans to retire. So I mean, he needs to get healthy, but that's not a good sign for him to make that admission. Even though teams, they probably know that anyways, but for him to come out and say that says a lot, and he's just not in a good position. So I'm glad that he's not even in the running out there to be considered for the by the Eagles. Not even in the running to be considered. That's what I meant to say, by the Eagles. So who knows? He could be like maybe a last dead last option for the Eagles if they don't really sign anybody, not able to bring in a guy they want. But even then, he probably would just still command a couple million. It's just I would want to say no less than 7, maybe 5, but that'd be pushing it. All right, left tackle Donovan Smith from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has been cut. Saves them about $8 million, and I think $8 million or so. And he's an 8-year pro, so he's got skin in the game. I think he's 29 years old. But his service is going to be sought after because there's some shifting, some other guys cut, or just Their contracts have expired, and he's going to look to sign on with somebody, and still has some talent. He's going to have some, a few suitors, more than a few suitors, and he might get paid a little decently. So see how that goes. But I don't think the Eagles will be in the market for him. Just wanted to put that out there. And last but not least, the Eagles have begun to meet with prospects. They have 31 private visits. That's the number of allotted visits for teams to bring in players that they want to kind of get a hands-on feel for and look at. And we brought in someone already. We'll get to that later. I think we'll let these guys compile a little bit, maybe about 10 by 10 or 5 by 5 or a week's worth of guys, or just a smattering. Look that word up. New vocabulary for you there. But anyways, we're gonna get up out of here on that note. So as I always say, you're not even watching. Nobody's gonna hear this deep. You're in too deep. Pause. But yeah, it's the same as always. Fly Eagles fly, and let's motherfucking go.
Like, comment, share, subscribe if you
Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.